What's going on, guys? So we are back for another cross-training shoe comparison, and this one is for the Nike fans. So we have the Nike Metcon 5, Nike Metcon 4XD, Nike React Metcon Turbo, and the Nike Metcon 6. We're gonna be breaking down these shoes into 3 different categories: best for lifting, best for versatility, and best for the price. Now before we dive in, I do wanna say that you're probably thinking, why are the Nike Metcon 5 and 4XDs up here? They are older models, and you are certainly right. However, you can still find them around the internet for different price points, depending on the colorways you can find. They're kind of like Easter eggs. And I still get a lot of questions on them. And if I had to guess, 2021 is probably gonna be the last year that you can find these two models for somewhat of a reasonable price. Plus, I've already compared the Nike React Metcon Turbo and the Nike Metcon 6 before in a video. I'm gonna link that up there. But now let's dive into our first category: which Nike Metcon cross-training shoe is best for lifting? So if you've ever trained in a Nike Metcon before, especially the more dedicated cross trainers here, then you know that they are plenty stable for a variety of lifts. Very rarely do you ever hear a complaint about a Nike Metcon model not being stable enough. So that all being said, if you're wondering about the stability of these 4 shoes, rest assured you should be plenty safe under a variety of loads when training in these models. Now I have broken them into a hierarchy system based on a couple different features, and so down here we have the most stable, and then down here the slightly less stable but still stable options. So the first option I have is the Nike Metcon 6. Now there's a reason why I put this as my favorite. So number 1, we have that split insole, and I've talked about this in many videos, but back here on the heel we have a firmer material. Up here on the forefoot, a slightly more accommodating, responsive material. A lot of lifters like that for their lifting. Plus, when lifters put in the hyperlifts, the heel stays plenty stable so they can get a nice elevation on their heel to toe offset and still move plenty of weight. The reason these are also my number 1 pick is the reworked upper compared to the 5 and 4. So the upper on this model is much more breathable than the previous 2. So if you are wearing them for longer durations, these breathe pretty dang well. My second pick is the Nike Metcon 5. So overall, the outsole and midsole construction of the shoe is very similar to the 6. In fact, they're virtually identical. There are a couple subtle differences, but overall, they're very similar when it comes to a stability aspect. The reason this model is my second pick is because of the upper. The upper is very durable. However, this shoe does get pretty dang hot, especially in warmer climates when we're wearing it for longer periods of time. So if you are somebody who is training heavy and training for longer periods, this shoe is likely gonna get pretty hot. It's not gonna really deter from your performance. It's more of just one of those personal preference things. The third option is the Nike Metcon 4XD. Now this shoe is overall very stable. Plus, there's a different outsole construction when it comes to the traction that this option provides compared to the 5 and 6. This is like that sticky rubber material. Overall, this model is once again very stable. Now there's a reason why it's my number 3 pick, and that is because the toe box is slightly more narrow than the 5 and 6. You have a little bit less room in this shoe. It feels much more athletic, which is a good thing in my opinion for some asks. However, from a true stability and lifting standpoint, if you want full toe splay, this model may be a little bit limiting for folks with wider feet or flatter feet, hence why it's my third choice. My final pick is the Nike React Metcon Turbo. So this shoe I have talked about many a times, and I've always mentioned that it is fairly stable. So there isn't really a concern with the overall stability of the shoe. However, compared to these 3, this model has the Nike React insole, and this insole does have a bit more cushion to it, and it's a bit more responsive, which is good for some asks. However, if we are looking at these shoes purely from a lifting standpoint, then that's why this is gonna fall as number 4, because of the responsive cushioning aspect of the insole. So overall, all of these Nike Metcon models are plenty stable for lifting. The 6 is fantastic for stability, has nice breathability to it. The 5, again, decent stability throughout, a little bit hotter with the upper construction. The 4XD, slightly more narrow last, may not be the best option for folks with wider or flatter feet. And the React Metcon Turbo, overall different reworked outsole construction and slightly more of an athletic take on the shoe with its Nike React insole. Hey guys, quick note, if you like training shoe content and fitness content, consider subscribing to the channel. It's helping the channel grow and I sincerely appreciate you. But now back to the review. So when talking versatility in cross-training shoes, how I like to define it is as a shoe's ability to tackle multiple asks within one singular workout. So how can a shoe perform in agility workouts, HIIT workouts, How can it do with shorter runs? How can it do with lifting? How can it do with things like rope climbs? Those are all factors that I consider when talking versatility. Now, once again, just like with lifting, all of these Nike Metcon models are pretty dang versatile. Now, they might not be the most comfortable to wear on a day-to-day or for longer runs. However, in a shorter run or more dynamic workout fashion, all of these shoes excel within their own right. I've organized them in a means of most versatile and least versatile down this way, but do note that all of these shoes can honestly kind of rotate, and outside of this top spot of the Nike React Metcon Turbo, which is just a completely different build than these three models, the second, third, and fourth spot could all literally just be interchanged around, and they are all decently solid across the board. But that all being said, my number one spot is going to the Nike React Metcon Turbo. Overall, I think this is the most versatile model. The Nike React insole is very responsive. The overall upper construction is breathable and very form-fitting to the foot. It feels very athletic. Plus, the disassociation of the heel and forefoot on the outsole here gives the shoe a very maneuverable feel. Now, I will say this is not going to be your best bet for rope climbs. So if you are somebody who wants a versatile model for rope climbs, I would consider these three over the Nike React Metcon Turbo. My number two spot is going to the Nike Metcon 5. There's a clear reason why I put this as my second pick, and that is because of the upper construction. Now, I know in the last section, the upper construction I mentioned is pretty hot compared to the 6. However, when we're thinking about things like S-lock rope climbs, dragging the toes, and burpees, the upper of the shoe is very durable. So this model is great for resisting abrasion and friction, which can be a big factor when we're talking versatility in your workouts. So that's why I put the Nike Metcon 5 as my number two pick for this list. But do note, these could all rotate honestly because again, they are very similar in nature. My third pick goes to the Nike Metcon 4XD. Now there's a clear reason why I love this shoe for versatile training, and it is because of the last and how it fits. It feels very athletic in nature. It fits slightly more narrow than the 5 and the 6. So if you are somebody who likes a slightly tighter shoe that feels a bit more athletic in nature, almost like a track shoe in some respects, this is a really good pick for you. My final pick goes to the Nike Metcon 6. Now do note once again, and I'm gonna reiterate this one more time, that this model could honestly be number 2 or 3. It really comes down to how you want to define versatility. But the reason this is my fourth pick is just because it feels a bit heavier in nature compared to these three. So if we are trying to get really granular with the versatility aspect of these Nike Metcon models, I'm gonna go ahead and put the heavier shoe down here towards the end. But overall, it's gonna perform pretty dang well across the board, and the weight isn't really gonna be a big factor for many of us. It's just hard to define which is the best and which is the least when they're all pretty dang great. So that all being said, those are my thoughts on the versatility of these shoes. I do like them for all different asks, and I like wearing them interchangeably based on what I'm doing. But now let's talk about our final category, which model is best for the price. So when it comes to price, Nike Metcon models are never really known for being cost efficient, which is kind of a bummer because their shoes always do perform pretty dang well. But across the board, I tried to place them in an ordering that I thought made sense based on their average cost. So down here we have the slightly more cost efficient and then the least cost efficient, and these guys vary a lot. So that being said, the Nike Metcon 6 comes in at $130 USD. That price point is pretty consistent. However, you can find some colorways here and there that are marked down slightly, so shop around if you are trying to save a little money. Now the Nike Metcon 4XD and the Nike Metcon 5, I pointed this out earlier, but they're kind of like Easter eggs. They can be difficult to find, especially in colorways you want and the size you need. So their price varies a lot. So sometimes you'll see models for like $100 and then sometimes you'll see them for like 150, 160. So there isn't really a perfect formula for these shoes. However, I will say that at times they can be very cost efficient depending on where you find them. Sometimes I have friends message me saying, hey, I found some Nike 4XDs at a retail outlet near me, and it's like a score. It's an Easter egg that is awesome. You scored a nice cost efficient, solid training shoe. The final model is the Nike React Metcon Turbo. This model comes out to $150 USD brand new, which is obviously not the most cost efficient option on the market. So overall, for these models, you're looking to pay anywhere between $130 and $150, $160 USD, but you can find the 4XD and 5 marked down to $100 in some colorways if you are lucky and you're willing to do the search. All right guys, that wraps up my roundup of the best Nike cross-training shoes in 2021. Now I will say, before I actually started this video, I had a massive nosebleed, which is really gross. So if at any point you see like my mustache get a little darker throughout my takes, it's because of that. And if you want, drop me a pity like, because we still trucked through and got this video done. If you have any questions on these models, or if you need help trying to find the 4XD or 5, I will gladly help you out. Just hit me in the comments below. And if you have a favorite Nike Metcon model, shout it out in the comments below and tell me why. I would love to hear more about why you like the Nike Metcon that you do. But as always, guys, drop a like to the video, drop subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.